All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Before we get started, let's introduce everyone in this meeting. I'm Sandy Brock. When I call your name, please confirm you can hear me by verifying that you are present. I'm going to start with the commissioners, Travis,
I'm here.
Jonathan,
Present.
and Noah.
Present.
All right, and staff, Leah
I'm here.
and Jan.
Present.
And you'll have to catch us up at another time about your recent trip. But we'll move on from there. Okay. So this open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, as most recently extended on March 29th, 2023. Access information for the public has been provided on the town website. This meeting is being recorded. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. This is done on the phone by pressing *6. As chair, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Please note that you will not have screen sharing privileges, but staff can display any visuals per your queue. During periods of public comment, participants must use the raise hand icon in the Zoom menu bar to indicate they would like to speak. This is done on the phone by pressing *9 and then *6 to unmute when you are called on. Participants who raise their hand will be recognized one at a time and will be promoted to speak. Finally, each vote taken will be conducted by roll call vote. As a reminder, the Commission is concerned with state and town wetlands and stormwater regulations. Concerns outside this purview need to be addressed by to the appropriate boards. For example, road conditions must be addressed with the Select Board, and traffic concerns must be addressed with the Planning Board. All right. So let's kind of figure out where we can start. I guess we can start with a continuation just to get that out of the way.
Which one?
Well, we
Clearview?
can't. Yes, because we can't do 162 Little Upton because
Yep.
it's not 710 yet. Okay.
Correct.
All right. I'm learning something, Leah. I'm learning something after all these years. Okay. So pursuant to the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a request for determination of applicability for the construction of a single-family house at 12 Clearview Street. The applicant has requested a continuance to August 5th. Do I have a motion to continue the hearing to August 5th?
I'll move to continue the hearing to August 5th.
Do I have a second? You're muted. Okay, thank you. You're quiet. So we have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Travis?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
And Noah?
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries. And the public hearing has been continued. Okay. Move on to 9 Logan Path. Or
Sure. Yeah, they don't have a time because they're a continuance, so that's okay.
okay. So we'll do that. Excuse me. Okay. Let me see. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Protection Act and the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Wetlands Bylaw permit for the construction of a single-family house at 9 Logan Path. And who's here to speak to that? Do we have anyone here?
This is Chuck Karen from Karen Environmental Consulting.
You have the floor. It's yours.
Okay, can I share my
No,
screen?
but you can ask us to share anything that you have submitted to us.
Okay, yeah, if we could just put up the most recent site plan that was submitted. There we go, perfect. I want to apologize for missing the last hearing. In my confusion with vacation and things, I forgot to put it on the calendar and
You don't have to make
forgot all about
excuses. You don't
Yeah.
have to make excuses to me, but maybe to your client, but that's about it.
Yep. So, I'm not sure how much detail went over at the last hearing, so I will run through it quickly. This is a proposed single-family house on Logan Path, located adjacent to Lake Ripple. There's an existing house that is pretty dilapidated at this point on the property. The proposed house is essentially going to be sitting where the existing house is. As some background, to the east, we have a finger of Lake Ripple. There was some confusion when we first filed whether we should be calling that a river or, perennial stream or part of Lake Ripple. I felt it definitely looked like it was part of the lake and not a flowing waterway. The commission hired Art Allen from Ecotech to review that issue, and he concurred with our opinion that it's part of the lake, and therefore we don't have riverfront area associated with it. There is a flood zone through that area, as well as a regulatory floodway. You can see the closest point of the regulatory floodways on the plan. It's out into the water a ways. And then we delineated the top of bank with the flags there, 1 through 5. And then the engineers and surveyors determine the extent of the 100-year flood zone at elevation 307, which is a little less intrusive than just the graphical representation that FEMA has. But they do have this on the correct datum and are going by the more accurate elevation information, since this is an area where there was the detailed study done. So this is a kind of narrow lot. The house is going, like I said, essentially where the existing house is. The house is proposed to be 40 by 28 feet, and there's going to be an 8-foot wide front porch, and proposing about a 14-foot wide deck off the back. The most extensive buffer zones are generated by the 100-year flood zone under the bylaw, which brings the 100-foot buffer zone just about basically running along the front edge of the proposed porch on the front of the house. We posing straw wattles all the way around the work, running along the 25-foot no disturb zone in the back. Nothing is really proposed back there other than to maintain the vegetation that is currently there. It's got to get trimmed back, obviously. We don't anticipate any tree cutting being necessary, but the site has been overgrown with a lot of shrubs and bittersweet, mostly invasive things. And when I was doing the data plots, there were a couple shrub species I don't think I had ever seen before. And, there seemed to be, I guess they're horticultural escapees more than invasives, but it's kind of basically overgrown. There's a steep slope off the back, right behind the house, that would be best maintained, and basically that low vegetation that's there now, and basically not proposing anything into the 25-foot zone. We've shown 2 possible stockpile areas on the site. I guess, as you can imagine, this between the narrow lot and getting the house in there, there's not too much room for stockpiling. So we've got an area near the proposed deck for a potential stockpile, and another one in the front of the lot where the driveway will end up. And that is my quick summary.
Okay. I'll just go around the commissioners. I have a few questions. I will just ask one before. So I understand that the graphical representation on the FEMA map does not match the actual elevations, and there's a lot of reasons for that. but typically it's good to see where the graphical representation is just to understand the difference.
Yep.
You know, kind of what you do with FEMA is what you do with FEMA because that's an insurance-based system. In the
Right.
fact that if your actual elevation is in a different location, that's not a real big deal, but you should be submitting, you know, a LOMA or something of that to make sure that your client is covered and um, that they're shown that the house is out of the flood zone. It's more for their benefit as opposed to
Yep.
really some of the things that we're doing. I don't know, Leah, if you have
Right,
anything.
basically, I mean, under the act, is if we have elevation data, that's what you're supposed to base it on. Which is what we've done, and I will double check. to make sure
I
that-
would check with
I,
that.
I, I think my memory was that the graphical representation, we were out of the flood zone as well. It was just much
Right.
higher, pretty close to where the deck is, but not up into the house location at all.
And again, you know, we are concerned with it, but you know, obviously if it's a mapped elevation, having the actual elevation is more critical. I don't have an issue with that. It's more just general things that I have on projects had to get LOMAs, even though, and it's really about protection of your client and, you know, as far as, you know, flood insurance and those type of things based on the steepness and so forth. I don't think it's a major issue at all. I just think it's just something that we want to point out and so forth.
I appreciate that.
Leah, anything to add to that?
Excuse me, I was just gonna say, Jan, if you can just pull up the GIS real quick, just so we can look at both. Just to see the difference. That's just why I flagged that item.
I don't think this is a big issue. I just want to make sure we address it and it's in our minutes and
Right.
we, you know. So. Does Jan still have jet lag?
It always takes a minute for the FEMA layer to load, so that's
Yep.
always a gamble.
Yes. Yep. So you can see
Yep.
where, yeah.
Yeah, it is further up than I'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that, it looks like.
Right. Yeah, and again, it's, you know, it's probably one of the simplest things you have to do with FEMA is a LOMA. And I always get the initials, acronyms, map amendment, I think is all this is needs to be. It's fairly straightforward. But again, it's just important for your client, but it's also gives us confirmation that that process has been done and so forth. So
Okay.
okay. So let me go around to
Hold
the other
on.
go ahead.
1 second.
Yeah.
So for our purposes, are we satisfied with what's on the plan so that we know there are not impacts to floodplain or floodway?
So
Because we're not using this graphical version. We're
So what
using
I
what's
I
on
would
the
say
plan.
is, yeah, I that's a good question. I would just say we should have the discussion whether to have a condition to say that it has to be confirmed with FEMA that the map elevation is the appropriate one, and it does deviate from the graphical representation on the FEMA map. So there's
Okay.
two parts of it. It's kind of the making sure the homeowner is appropriately informed so that they don't get, you know, even though I understand about the mapped elevation, unfortunately, floods are going beyond those 100-year floodplains very frequently. Just want to protect both from the wetlands protection side, but also from the homeowner side. So, but that, you know, you understand it. It just should be a fairly thing. The other thing is um, the so you have the AE zone, and then you have the floodway zone. So the floodway comes onto the site a little bit, um, but but you indicated that Art went out and confirmed that this is still uh, a lake, i.e. a lake, pond, or whatever, basically there's certain things that has to do with temperature, gradation, it has to do with flow and so forth. And it's so much fun when you have the end of a lake coming into a river to delineate the actual
Yes.
regulatory line. So as long as he's gone out and looked at it, he probably has a better idea than I do of the characteristics of what a lake or pond is versus what a river is. It's very easy at one point, it's a river. It's very easy at one point, it's a pond. It's figuring out the in between and where it transitions. And there are actually policies with that. So, okay. So let's go quickly around to see if anyone else on the commission has any questions or comments. Jonathan. You're on mute. I know you. There we
No
go.
questions at this time. Nothing
All
at
right.
this time.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't know why my mic's not working that well.
That's okay. Travis?
Will everything from the house to the 25-foot no disturb be cleared, grubbed, turned back into lawn?
I'm anticipating that steep slope that's from the back edge of the house down is going to be, it's going to need to be landscaped, but I don't think you will steep enough. I don't think you want to have it as lawn and try to maintain it as lawn.
Okay, and then I had
That looks like how it was. I look back at some of the older areas, it looks like it was lawn on
Yeah.
both sides. Then when you get down what's basically about where the 25-foot no disturb line is, from there down to the tree line right in the lake, looks like it's overgrown lawn. There's still lots of grass, but with shrubs and bittersweet coming
Yeah,
up
back
now.
in like
So,
06, you can kind of see where it might have been lawn.
Yep.
So Leah, can we make a condition that before they start disturbing the soil and tearing everything up, that they send you photos of the wattle actually anchored into the ground?
Yeah, we always conduct an inspection too.
Okay, great. Just because it's so close to the lake, and I
Mhm.
know that some contractors have a hard time burying the wattle the 3 inches or so that the specs call for. Also, can we make it clear that it needs to be wildlife safe wattle and not the plastic netting?
Yeah, I believe we already do.
Okay. I thought we did. There's a Grafton Land Trust parcel there. Sorry, that was it.
All right. Noah, do you have any questions?
No questions from me.
Okay. Leah, you want to kind of just go over your report again and see what we've missed?
Sure. So I just had a note that Travis did do a Mullen form from last time, so he can vote as well. Chuck covered the slab question. The slab's coming out, they're pouring a new one. He did add the bylaw no disturb and buffer zone lines for floodplain, which made it more inclusive, as he explained earlier. The utilities are on the plan now, so all those revisions are all set. We talked through the floodplain and floodway questions, and the only other piece I had was that DEP's comment was that the commission may consider including a finding on the determination of riverfront area, which was from Art's peer review.
Okay. That'll probably be good for just not for this one, for anything else, the future. That
I was
the
surprised that hadn't come up on this before. There's so much close to it.
it has to do with who's done work that actually came in front of us. I mean, that's
Yep.
just the reality of it.
Right.
So, and
Yep.
not everything comes in front of us that is supposed to. So, but yeah, okay. So Leah, as far as Art's kind of defining it, how did he define it? And is it good enough to have it as a finding in our order of conditions?
Good question. I gotta look at that. I haven't looked at it
Okay.
in a little bit.
No,
Okay.
but he was pretty specific in his report about where he thought it went from.
Maybe
Stream to
Jan, if you
lake.
want to throw it on the screen for everybody. So he did mark up the mass mapper figure as one of his attachments.
Oh, okay, that's really very helpful. Okay. Does he have any other attachments than just this one here? I think that's it. And then he's just again. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you go back to the text? Okay. I think the last sentence in the second paragraph's a key item.
The rooted vegetation.
Yeah, it has to do with the type of vegetation and usually in a river, not to say you don't have vegetation in the river, but you can see how it flows and it usually goes with how it flows. So it's all about velocity, and the big thing is another one is the temperature, because the temperature in a pond is actually has layers to it, and in a stream it's mixed up and it's a continuous temperature. Only just when you have to figure out where one stops and when those are the type of data points that you look at that help you to come to a conclusion with all the data together. And it's one of those things where there are circumstances where delineating that line can be difficult. This one seems a little bit less of an issue based on what he's saying, but also based on just some of the attachments and the fact that it's a kind of a peninsula of water there and not the blue stream of a USGS coming out of it. Very different. So, I don't know, Leah, if you think that this is, it looks like he had that art had specific things that made him make a statement like that.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So just we do have a new commissioner here, Noah. Just like so if you have questions about this, and again, as you go through, you'll see these different circumstances where every type of jurisdiction we deal with, whether it's riverfront or whether it's a pond or land underwater, all those things start and stop at certain points, and that's where our consultant, went out there and looked at it so that we have guidance on where that is. Um, and in this case here, when you have a river start, it actually, unlike a 100-foot buffer zone that has a circle, a radius that's next to it, when a perennial river starts, it's perpendicular to the bank. So where he's pointed out means that's way down, it's further away from this particular site, and therefore, if you drew in where the riverfront was, it's not going to be close to this site, relatively speaking. So, all right. So at this point, I'll open it up to the public to see if anyone has any comments or question on this particular site. Um, Jan or Leah, if you take a look and see if anyone raises their hands, we can answer any questions there. And then as far as recommendations or order or conditions, do you have any, Leah, for this one?
So we did not get those revisions until today, so I didn't know we were gonna have answers to those questions. It didn't go as far as conditions.
Okay.
I do have the finding, for the riverfront. We talked through the one condition about confirmation from FEMA that their elevation is correct, and that we're not using the graphical representation.
Right.
To cover Travis's, but I believe we already do. We need the erosion control to be wildlife friendly. I know for sure we ask for an inspection first. And I did want to ask you guys how you want to handle the no disturb line here. If you wanted signage, barrier, nothing.
I
I'm
think
not sure. Like, we talked a little bit about what the vegetation changes are like on the lot.
Yep. Should have definitely have signage at some point, whether that's at the 25-foot or someplace different. So, and then just to, for the applicant and their consultant, it's a standard condition that we have is we put out the little 4x4 inch um, signs. And it's not meant to be this big sign, but it's just there so that um, reminds the current homeowner, but it also alerts future homeowners that this is a protected area and cannot be disturbed. One of the things that we typically do is require some sort of barrier, but we don't want to specifically say. I mean, you know, what we're concerned with is encroachment on the 25-foot no disturb. And so it can be a wide variety of things. It can be, boulders. If you're doing a site and you have a lot of boulders, you can line up boulders there and just that in. It could be a split rail fence. It's we don't particularly want to dictate what that barrier is, but we just want to make sure that it's enough of a barrier that people don't begin to mow and so forth to
I
park.
assume a break in the barrier would be fine for just a footpath to get down to the
Oh,
water and things up.
absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have some, typically we saying like 20-inch separations just so that people don't bring their lawnmower down, past experience type of stuff. But yeah, we're not looking to like have this big fence or anything. We're just looking for someone to understand you're not supposed to be encroaching on this area. So,
Okay.
um, I guess the question for you, if you have any thoughts on what that visual barrier could be,
I
or
When this comes up, I always think a split rail fence is gonna be the most aesthetically pleasing and low maintenance thing to put there. I mean, boulders are ugly. I mean, we've done it with plantings, but then, especially in a case like this, you probably want to see the water. I mean, we don't,
yep,
there's a lot more vegetation between the house and the water than is necessary. And then there's always, um, I guess like I said, I would generally recommend a split rail fence or something
and
like that.
And obviously, we're absolutely fine with that. If you do a split rail fence, you attach the signs right on the fence as opposed to doing separate posts. So
Right.
we're flexible. It's really the end result that we're looking for.
Yep.
It's protection of that no disturb. So Leah, can we condition that? We typically condition that, right?
What do you mean by that exactly?
I mean, we usually condition what the visual barrier is, what it can be, but we don't.
So
Yeah, we've gone through this before.
in the past, we listed boulders or a split rail fence. After our conversation last meeting with 5 Stratton Road, I revised it to say plantings that satisfy similar spacing as the boulders, and I also added or another proposed measure that goes before the commission for approval in case anyone comes up with anything else.
Okay. I think that's a great kind of update to what we had been previously doing. So, um, so I guess a question to you, Leah, are you comfortable enough with what's been submitted to us to be able to come up with the um, conditions, or I can actually ask the applicant, and this is totally up to you, is that we review our conditions ahead of time, but that didn't quite happen due to the timing. Um, so I always leave, it's the law. You guys can either request for a continuation to the next one so you can hear the conditions, or you can close the hearing. We can issue the conditions, and if you have issues, it can always come back.
I'd rather just close the hearing and we don't tie up your time with another hearing. I mean, there's nothing that's been discussed here that's out of the ordinary or unexpected,
Okay.
so I would be shocked if there was any issues.
Okay. Go ahead.
The main
Leah.
thing that's helpful for me is if you guys have anything that you feel goes beyond our standard conditions. Often, most of our standard conditions cover single-family house lots. It's just if there's anything unique or unusual that you want captured.
Let's go around and ask. So, Travis, anything specifically?
I can't think of anything else.
Jonathan?
Nothing that I can think of that's beyond our typical.
Okay. Noah, anything, any questions or anything else to add?
No, nothing to add.
Yeah, I think it's a single family house. It's already been developed once and it's being replaced and everything's, I think we said last time, everything's on water and sewer. So we're not dealing with septic or well or anything else that has potential impact. You don't even have a garage. It's a driveway. Might want to check your driveway setbacks and stuff. FYI, just recently experienced that one, and just you might want to check that. I think that's about it. Have we had anyone from the public raise their hand or anything?
Nothing from the public.
All right. All right, one last round to everyone, and then after that, we'll go to a motion back to the applicant. Is there any other questions that you have?
Oh, I don't have any.
Okay, great. Jonathan, anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay, Travis,
Nope.
Noah.
Nothing from me.
I also doesn't have anything else. So can I hear a motion to close the hearing, issue the order of conditions?
I'll move to close the hearing and issue the order of conditions as discussed for 9 Logan Path.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Travis, you got the big screen, so you get to go first.
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Noah,
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion passes. So good luck with the house. And if you have any questions on any of the conditions, please feel free to reach out to our staff. They're
Okay.
extremely good and responsive.
Thank you very much.
right.
Appreciate your help with this.
No problem. Good luck.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We now we can do the continuance for the 7:10.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Okay. I'm still looking for the right thing to read anyway, so. Okay. Okay, here we go back up here. All right. That's the one I'm looking for. 7:10. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Wetlands Bylaw permit for the widening of a driveway at 162 Old Upton Road. The applicant has requested a continuance to August 19th. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to continue the hearing to August 19th.
A second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Travis?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
I am also a yes. That motion carries. All right. Other things. So I think the public hearings are taken care of.
Yep.
Action items.
Want to just go down the list?
Okay, so the first one is the reissue certificates of compliance, and I know in your report you talked about that.
Yeah, this one's a little weird. So this order was actually for 52 Adams to build the house, They didn't build it under this DEP number. They built it under one that came later in the 700s. So they got a certificate of compliance saying no work commenced under this order.
Yep.
Nobody ever recorded that certificate of compliance. And for some reason, this order at 164619 is now coming up in a title search for 34 Adams, which is the odd part. But they're asking for a new original just so they can record it and close that off their
Okay.
deed and anyone else's that it's touching.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. It seems like it's more paperwork and so forth.
Yep.
If there's nothing else to add to that, we will have a motion. Wait a minute, let me first, I gotta do, yeah. Does anyone have any questions, Travis?
No. No.
Okay,
Trying
Jonathan,
to find it on the report. Nope, I'm good.
No, no questions.
Noah?
No questions.
Okay, I don't have any questions either. So, having said that, do I have a motion?
Move to reissue the original certificate of compliance for 34 Adams Road.
Second,
Does that work?
I think is it for 34 or 52? I'm just got confused.
So when we reissue, it will be the identical document, so it will be for 52, but we're gonna include in the cover letter that it was requested by 34, but 34 is non-locus to this order. So, I mean, however you want to say it, you can use the DEP number if that's easier.
Okay,
I'll move to reissue the original certificate of compliance for DEP number 164-619.
fabulous. Second?
second,
So motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
yes,
Noah.
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries. Okay. So, all right. Next item up. Consideration for comment letter to the environmental bond bill.
Yeah.
Which one is this Mass Ready one?
What do you mean? Like, what's the?
The name of the bill.
Everyone's just been saying environmental bond bill. I don't
Okay.
know beyond that. This
O-
came
only
up. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say only because the Mass Ready one is also a funding bill for doing it. It actually will have an impact on our regulations. And it will for certain residential developments and some other things like culvert replacement. It will
Yeah,
bypass our
yep.
local.
Same one.
So okay, so that's what they're calling it, and so I've looked at it a little bit uh, and so forth. And the big one is the fact that for certain affordable housing, they will not have to follow any local bylaw or ordinances, wetlands bylaw or ordinances. And then there's some other streamlining information or requirements regarding. So typically, you can go through an appeal process through the Wetlands Protection Act, and you go through, you appeal to DEP. It can end up in an adjudicatory hearing, which is simply a hearing within DEP. And then if it goes beyond that, you can appeal it to Superior Court, taking the DEP part out, and they're going right to Superior Court, which means if someone wants to appeal it, they're going to have to spend a substantial amount more money, because when you appeal it to DEP, it's a $25 appeal process. And then once you get into adjudicatory hearing, you have to have attorneys and experts. But when you go to Superior Court, you're actually appealing the actual law, and it's different. And you need an attorney to do the whole thing. So that's an overview. So when you say to sign on to this, is which ones are you looking to sign on to?
So all I know is MACC hopes to put out like a template letter that
Yep.
people can pick and choose from. And I didn't know if you guys wanted me to pick and choose from theirs and put something together and send it in. I don't think MACC is going to do one where like towns sign on to theirs. It's just, do you want to take this template and make your own?
Right, yeah, they're trying to support the towns. Yeah.
So wanted to take the temperature of the commission and see, if everyone feels informed enough to put something forward, or I know the timeline is super tight. They want comments by the 29th. I've
Wow.
been on one lunch and learn about it last week, and they already have another one this coming Thursday. If you guys get the Mac emails, you should have gotten
Yep.
one about it. Feel free to sign in to that if you wish.
Yeah, they've already had it once because someone else in the office listened in. I was supposed to be on the committee. I was supposed to listen into the committee that was preparing for that, and I missed it for other reasons. But yeah, it's definitely something. And again, it's more of the understanding of what this particular law does and how it bypasses certain local bylaws. That's probably how it impacts us the most, and just understanding that um, there's also other parts of the bill that actually is not bad, but it has to do with making sure different funding meets resilience design kind of goals and so forth, and which has been around, but it's just and again it's like this act that they're putting in there that actually has impacts on the Wetlands Protection Act without actually updating the Wetlands Protection Act, which is kind of weird. I've never seen it before. So I know, Travis, do you have any kind of comments on that, or?
No, I mean, anything that would support our local bylaw, I would want to sign on to something like that. The other stuff, I'd have to read more about it.
And trust me, it is a lot about funding. So when you go and you start to read the hundreds of pages, a lot of it is, certain things that you get totally bogged down and you're trying to search for the things that
Yeah.
you're really looking for. That's why, like with MACC, they give a synopsis. Other organizations are doing the same. So, so, um, so, so Travis, if it's about, making sure that our local bylaws being enforced and not being stepped over, is that something?
That's my initial reaction.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Jonathan, any kind of comments or opinions on this?
No, what Travis just said makes sense if it supports what we're trying to do in Grafton, and that makes sense to me. But
Yeah.
I'd also have to review the changes as well to understand the other pieces.
Yeah, and again, it's a lot. I mean, it's as an engineer reading it, I get really just my eyes glaze over, and it's not the easiest thing for me to digest. That's usually why you go to MACC or other organizations, so someone who does the legalese
Yeah.
can translate it for me. So, okay. So Noah, do you have any kind of thoughts or questions on this?
I don't. Um, 'Cause I don't think I'm informed enough about what it is to make any comments, but
So yeah, and kind of my opinion is if we keep it narrow, more about how it impacts Grafton specifically, i.e., stepping over our local wetlands bylaw, then I would be all for that kind of letter. I would just think that we'd want to keep it pretty streamlined to what, kind of our purview, and not because there's a lot in there. And there's also a lot of good things. There's a lot of funding in there for doing different resilient projects and other things. And yeah, there's some streamlining of, restoration project types. So, like if you want to convert a cranberry bog back into the wetlands, there's some streamlining in that. It doesn't really impact us here. So it's really, to me, it would just be concentrating on the impacts to Grafton. So
Okay.
does that help, Leah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's just like with anything else, there's always multiple things in there um, that has certain impacts. So, um, okay. Discussion items.
So I don't have any discussion items, but I have another action item that came in under the 48-hour window.
Did we
Okay.
do the continuance for 12 Clearview Street? I just completely forgot.
Yes, we did first thing.
It was a long day.
We did it first thing.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Yeah, I have to
Um,
jump on and I have to finish something for work before I sign off. So,
So the last action item I have is we received the open space deed for Woodland Hill.
Okay.
You guys might remember it as Village at Institute Woods, but the name is now Woodland Hill.
Okay.
I guess Jan, if you can just pull up the plan set, and I think it's only like a page or two in, has the overview showing the whole subdivision. The open space we would be taking is inclusive of the parcel with the certified vernal pool on it,
Yep.
along Institute Road, plus two little strip parcels that provide access to the
The
adjacent
school.
open space. Yeah,
Yeah. It ultimately there's a connection down to the school.
correct.
It's around the corner from where I live. So
So once you guys have the visual, it's just we need to take a vote to accept it. This is another document that you need to come in and sign in person in ink in front of a notary. I don't believe this one has a surprise deadline that we had to rush for like last time. So you guys should be able to come down at your leisure. But if anyone wants to like set an appointment time and come as a group, we're happy to do that too. Either way, there's plenty of notaries in the town hall.
Friday mornings for me. I'm home. Just that Jan is there and she tells us about her trip.
There you go.
Pretty flexible this week if you need me to come down and sign something.
So just as an FYI, the vernal pool that we're talking here is actually, I don't know what it's like now, but it has always been a very vibrant and very active vernal pool.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Oh.
So it's parcel A is the one where you can see the vernal pool. Parcel B is to like the bottom left of the page, this little strip between a couple houses. And parcel C is on another sheet, but it's another little strip between houses. If you go up to like page 3, maybe. Yeah, and then just zoom in a bunch. We can see all 3 on there. So now you can see A along Institute, which is the sizable one. It's got the little tail over to Dillon Way also. B is in that bottom corner between lots 6 and 7, and then C is between lots 13 and 14.
Right. And just as an FYI to folks, if you don't know the area, that connects to existing open space, those two things, and it ultimately connects to the elementary school. I forget the name of the elementary school. But yeah, so at one point they
Yeah.
wanted to have a path through there.
That'd be North. I think that's North Grafton Elementary, right? Not North Street. It's North Grafton that's on
Yeah.
Belleville, right?
Yeah, it's right over off of Route 30.
Yeah.
And then at the back of it, if you ever over in the area, there's open space behind it. So the open space is behind the cemetery, behind the Grafton Elementary School, and there's all trails through there. So the only
Mhm.
problem with those trails, you never know when you're on on town property or when you wander off onto someone's private property. Just because I've gone up through there a few times because I live pretty close. So
That's the ferry trail or whatever
yep.
where the kids decorate all the
Yeah, I haven't been in a while. I know that kind of went downhill and someone had messed with them, but yes, that's exactly where it is, up behind the cemetery. So, but yeah, I mean, they're still working on houses. They haven't done final pavement, but accepting the open space stuff, I don't think I have any issues. So quick, Travis, any kind of questions on accepting this?
No,
Jonathan?
no questions.
Yeah. Noah?
No, no questions.
Yeah. We need a motion,
Yes,
Leah?
please.
and what is the motion can be as simple as to say we accept the parcels as shown. I don't know,
Yep.
from whatever the heck that it's now called.
Woodland Hill. Yep.
Woodland Hill. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to accept the open space deed parcels at Woodland Hill.
Sounds good. A,
Second.
B, and C. We got a second. Got a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Travis.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
I am also a yes. Yeah. So Noah, there's a lot of open space in Grafton, and it's worth kind of taking a look if you're enjoy that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, no, I know this one down in Institute too, so I drive by there a lot. So
okay.
this is cool.
All right. Leah, are we near the end?
That's all I have.
Do I need to get one of my kittens so we can close the hearing? I
Yes.
don't know. I don't know where they are. They disappeared. Usually they're right near me, but anyways, they made a brief appearance early on. So, but what does that leave everyone with?
Motion to adjourn.
You're muted, Jonathan.
Second.
Okay. Oh, you weren't muted, but you're good. Okay. Motion a second. Roll call vote. Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
I am also a yes. That motion carries, and we are adjourned.